Hi, Denise Martin here, author of Harping My Way to Heaven. And now, instead of writing my second book, Harping My Way to Heaven, I'm going to tell these stories on film. So this is my electric carbon fiber harp, Raven, and my sidekick, stage manager, Flun, who accompany almost everywhere. So, the first tale I'm going to tell in Harpin My Way to Heaven is probably one of the wildest things that ever happened to me as a human being. So this was, oh gosh, I'm not good with time, but let's say about 8 years ago. I'm sitting at a trolley stop in Portland, Oregon, about 9 o'clock at night with Raven on my chest. Flun wasn't in my life yet. I hadn't rescued him from Goodwill. And a young man, about maybe 27, rolls up and he's real agitated. And I immediately suspect like crystal meth or something. And not only is he agitated, but he's upset. So I ask him, are you all right or whatever? And he won't talk to me. He just keeps like pacing around. I tried again, same thing. So eventually he sat down next to me. And I looked at him and I said, are you all right, man? He didn't answer. So I started playing. And he started to cry. So I looked at him, he was right next to me. I put my hand on his shoulder. I said, are you okay? He said, nothing. So I kept playing a little while longer, and finally I said, are you okay, man? And I got my hand on his shoulder, we're side by side, and he says, I'm homicidal. He did not say I'm homosexual, he said I'm homicidal. And based on the brief conversation we had after that, I got the impression he had already unalived someone, whether that evening or prior, he had this going on in his life. And he was trying to fight the voices in his head. He didn't want to do it. I looked at him and went, wow, what can I do to help? He says, just keep playing. Well, now I'm really freaked out because I don't know what his trauma is. I don't know what's got him this close to the edge or what causes him to go over the edge. So I'm like furiously searching my playlist. Are You Lonesome Tonight? No, that's not going to work. Tennessee Waltz. That's a broken-hearted love song. Over the Rainbow? Yeah, that might work. I was so freaked out about picking the right song. So I start playing, and he just sits there and quietly cries, and finally the trolley pulls up. And so we both get on the trolley. And this particular trolley, I was riding it. My intention was to ride it to the city center where I would get on a bus home or a MAX train. But this particular trolley goes in a loop around the city. It goes down to the waterfront and comes back up. So he gets on and he sits in a front, kind of up in front by himself, really, trying to hide himself. And I'm standing a few rows behind him with other people, like, giving everybody the eyeball, like, I don't know what to do, but I gotta do something. And I finally decide that I need to get off the trolley and call the police. So I get off the trolley, I call non-emergency and tell them what happened. And I said, he's on the trolley and it's headed towards the waterfront. If somebody got on the trolley and just asked him, are you okay? He's going to say no. He needs help before someone gets hurt. And they treated me like I was insane. And eventually said, okay. But I have no idea whatever happened to that young man. But he gave me a real-time peek into what mental illness at that level looks like. I believe this was a sweet, well-meaning person who was devoured by mental illness and out harming people against his own will. Crazy, eh? Stay tuned for more Harpin My Way to Heaven.